What if we could build an internet for energy? I mean, a truly global network so tough, so resilient, that a crisis in one part of the world wouldn't spark a catastrophe in another. Well, that's the massive idea behind something called the Global Energy Corridor System, a really fascinating concept from Ali Hokarik.
But, to really get why this solution is so important, we first have to understand the problem. So let's dive into it because right now, our entire global energy system is hanging by a thread. It's an incredibly fragile lifeline.
So that raises the question, right? Just how fragile are we talking about? Well, picture the entire global economy just teetering on a knife's edge. And honestly, that's not much of an exaggeration. It's all balanced on just a handful of very specific, very vulnerable spots on the map.
I mean, think about places like the Strait of Hormuz or the Suez Canal. These are what we call critical choke points. Our deep reliance on these single routes means that one blockage, just one conflict, can send massive shockwaves through the entire global market. It affects prices, it affects stability for everyone.
So what's the alternative? This is where the Global Energy Corridor System, or GECS for short, comes into play. The idea here is to stop thinking about energy as something that flows through a simple, straight pipe and start thinking about it like a network, like the internet. Now, this slide gets right to the heart of it because it's a huge shift in thinking. GECs is not about building another gigantic pipeline. No, it's about creating a smart architecture. The goal here isn't just to carry energy from point A to point B, it's to intelligently manage its flow on a worldwide scale.
Okay, so here's the official definition, but let's focus on the key words. Distributed means no single point of failure. Multi-route, which means energy can be sent in different directions if there's a problem. And maybe the most important phrase here is integrating existing infrastructure. This is huge because it means we're not starting from zero. As we're about to see, that's what makes this whole thing actually feasible.
So, how in the world would you even begin to build something this ambitious? Well, the concept breaks it down into 4 distinct layers. It starts with what we already have and then builds up to what's completely new.
So look at layer 1, the physical layer. The pipelines, the terminals, that stuff already exists. And the control layer, with all its sensors, well, we have a lot of that too. The real game changer, the real innovation, is in the other 2 layers. The connection layer, which physically links all these separate systems together, and the intelligence layer, which is the AI brain that makes the entire network smart.
And the heart of that brand new connection layer is this, the offshore energy router hub. Seriously, think of it like a massive, high-tech traffic circle for energy, sitting out in the middle of the ocean. It's a physical place where pipelines and ships can all connect, and energy can be redirected and sent out on totally new paths. This is the critical piece that gives the whole network its incredible flexibility.
Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. A project this big, it sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, right? Impossibly complex, impossibly expensive. So let's do a quick reality check and tackle those big questions head on.
And let's start with the most obvious one, the money. I mean, a global energy internet? Surely that would cost trillions of dollars that we just don't have, right? Well, maybe not. And this point right here changes everything. You see, GECS is mainly an integration project, not a brand new construction project. It's designed to leverage the trillions of dollars we've already spent on all those pipelines, terminals, and ports. The new money is targeted like a laser at the connection hubs and the smart software that ties it all together.
Okay, fine, but what about the politics? Let's be real. Energy is power. So why on earth would major global powers or countries that are flat-out rivals ever agree to cooperate and share control over a system this important? The answer is, believe it or not, we already have blueprints for this kind of thing. Just think about the SWIFT system that all the banks use for international payments, or think about the way the internet's core infrastructure is governed by multiple groups. GECs to operate under a similar multi-country structure where the shared benefit of a stable system is actually more valuable than any one country having total control. And finally, we have to talk about the tech. In a world where we're all, a little worried about cybersecurity, can we really trust an AI and artificial intelligence with the keys to our global energy supply? That is a super common question. But the way this system is designed is actually pretty reassuring. The AI here isn't a dictator, it's more like a co-pilot. It's a hybrid control model. The AI looks at millions of data points to suggest the best and safest routes, but a human being is always in the loop to make the final call, to give the final approval.
And this is critical. There are always physical, manual overrides. The plug can always be pulled. The system is never 100% dependent on its digital brain.
So, now that we've tackled some of the big objections, let's have some fun. Let's just imagine what the world would actually look like if GECS really happened. What would the day-to-day impact be?
While this wouldn't happen overnight, it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. The realistic goal for the first decade or so would be to connect existing regional pipelines and maybe build one or two of those router hubs just to prove the concept. But then, the revolutionary long-term vision, maybe 20 or 30 years from now, is that fully fledged global energy internet with multiple hubs all over the world capable of automatically routing energy in real time. And that would absolutely shake up the geopolitical map. It could create a whole new energy world order. You'd have nations in Europe, for example, who'd love to reduce their dependency on a single supplier, or countries in Asia that need that constant, uninterrupted supply. They'd probably be big supporters. But then, you'd have countries that currently make a lot of money or have a lot of power because they are a critical transit route. They might not be so thrilled. It would create this whole new, fascinating dynamic of global cooperation versus competition.
So, what's the bottom line? What does this all mean for regular people? Well, the impact could be massive. A system like this could lead to much more stable oil and gas prices, since supply could just be rerouted around problems. It would make it much, much harder for countries to use energy as a weapon in a conflict. And all of that would add up to a more stable, more predictable global economy for all of us. In the end, it all comes down to this one single, powerful idea. In the world we live in right now, when a critical energy route gets blocked, the system stops. Period. In a world with GECSs, the system doesn't stop. The system reroutes. That one sentence